Greetings, YouTube. The other day I mentioned that at one point I had written a timeline for the Justifiers role-playing game because I love timelines. So I thought I'd read it today. This timeline should be really considered as an alternative speculative history because I began it back in the 1990s, so things have not turned out the way I thought they were going to. No surprise. But this is what I wrote back then. 2005. The first successful fusion of human and animal genetic material. Debate over the being's legal status begins even before its birth. The being is a male chimpanzee-human cross and is dubbed an alpha humanoid. His life is brief as a humans-only radical group firebombed the labs housing him. 2008. In an attempt to get back to the political map, Iraq releases a new bioplague. A version of the pneumonic plague, the Black Death, quickly becomes a pandemic. Within a year, 47 million are dead worldwide, 60% of the deaths being concentrated in Europe and North America. The first plague enters the history books. Dr. Eugene McGuire of the U.S. Center for Disease Control, the CDC, makes the breakthrough that leads to a cure. Dr. McGuire comes out of the panic looking like a knight in shining armor. All told, worldwide, there are 63 million dead before a vaccine is delivered. Iraq is invaded by the United Nations and ceases to be a nation. 2012. Standing on a pro-technology political platform, Dr. Eugene McGuire wins the 2012 U.S. presidential election by a landslide. The doorway for technical research is wide open. Genetic engineering becomes the money-making field to be in. A dozen alpha humanoid species are patented in the year 2013 alone. The first permanent lunar colony is founded, known as Clark Base. 2015, human cybernetic integration is achieved by the University of Oklahoma. Opens the door for the first true cyborgs. 2016, President Eugene McGuire wins the re-election. Genetic labs throughout America rejoice. 2018, man lands on Mars, establishes the Gorbachev base. 2021, the second plague strikes mankind. Later testimony discloses that this disease originated in the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. By 2023, 213 million people are dead, another 457 million suffer permanent nerve damage. Most Western governments fall to one degree or another, including the US, Canada, Mexico, and all of Central and South America, and all of Europe except for the Netherlands and France. 2024, a vaccine is found for the second plague in France by Dr. Claude Verdon. No cure is ever found for those surviving the plague, but suffering nerve damage. Total world casualties, 372 million dead and 933 million with permanent nerve damage. 2025, the UN declares itself as the first world government headed by France, China, and the United African Nations. The first president is Joseph Mukumbe, a native African educated in Kenya and Oxford. The first World Council is convened on November 19, 2025. 2026, insurrections are put down in the US, Scotland, and Germany by the World Council Armed Forces, a military force made up of soldiers from at least in part the countries rebelling. The World Council authorizes use of tactical nuclear weapons on a unit of its own army that joins the rebellion in El Paso, Texas. The rebellions die out rather quickly after that. 2028, the first base established in the asteroid belt on Ceres. 2030, the world discovers, much to many people's surprise, that the World Council is doing a better job than the governments it replaces. 2033, a World Council court declares alpha humanoids protected species. 2047, first fusion reactor goes online in Chiba, Japan. Once the fusion reaction has begun, it only requires distilled water as fuel. 2054, the first fully bipedal bimanual humanoid is developed. Dubbed beta humanoids, they are extended the alpha's protected status. 2056, radical anti-humanoid political parties spring up all over the planet. Touting a humans-only theme, many are backed by religious leaders, both big and small. 2026, there are 7 lunar bases, 4 Martian, and 17 in the outsystems. 12 million people live off Earth. 2071. The first principles of psionics are discovered by Dr. Rasheen Rabapul, students of science and Hindu teachings. The talent for psionics being among humans is low, 5%. The percentage among betas and augmented humans is kept strictly top secret. 2085, President Du Bois is elected World Council President as a humans-only platform. He quickly pads the council with his own loyal members. 2 outspoken counselors who disagree with President Du Bois have untimely accidents. 2087, with a strong military backing, President Du Bois leads a bloodless coup of the council. He declares himself Emperor Pierre I of the Imperium of Humanity, aka Empire of Man. Much to even his surprise, no one seems to care. I'm going to pause this here because I'm not going to be able to finish this in a single video. I will continue it in a second video shortly.